This is Rich Hanlin with Mortgage Ballers, and we are back with another interview with a top loan officer who basically has been in the business, and his name is Aaron Kerscher. And today we get a little bit of his time before he jumps into the middle of what he does every day. And we're going to talk about what you do every day, by the way. But we've got some questions because we want people to learn more about you, who you are, what you like about the business, how long you've been in the business. But Aaron, thanks for coming to the show today. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely, Rich. Thanks.
Hey, if no one knows you out there and someone's looking at this video for the first time and there's a million loan officers and you got all these people just shoving sales techniques, we got trigger leads, we got pull a credit report, you get 100 texts and messages. Who's Aaron Kerscher in all of that?
You know, I've had a pretty extensive background, but the thing that most resonates with clients is probably a two-parter. One part would be I really help clients learn how to leverage a bank versus be leveraged by a bank. And I think that's important, understanding how a loan will work, the structure, and let them, really shop for the best product loan for them. The second part is I try to keep things very simple, not use a lot of buzzwords. And loans are a little bit like a cake, right? Different ingredients to make that cake. And I tell people, just bring me your ingredients. I'm a Michelin star chef. I will create a great loan for you.
All right. I like it. And you're absolutely correct. A lot of people in the world say everything's vanilla 30-year fixed. And it's like, no, there's something for everyone depending on, I look at loans as tools. I don't look, it's a tool. How do I want to use that tool? And a lot of people don't even realize, like, you can start with a 29-year term, a 28-year term. Where are you trying to be? And could you imagine, I always thought in 2008, that crash never would have happened if everybody was on 20-year loans and there never was anything higher than that. The equity driven so quickly off a 20-year term, which isn't as bad as 15, and it's not as much of a hit as people think to a 30. But I've always gone back. And so even on my own loans, when I do stuff, I mess with the term because I know how much interest goes into those first couple of years. People are like, what's he talking about? Well, look at your payment. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And terms just one part of it, right? I mean, income qualification and how different loan products look at that income qualification. Terms are a great way. I teach a lot of my clients clever ways to pay off their mortgage or eliminate a ton of interest.
I like it.
Term is just one of those great examples.
No, I'm all for that. How long have you been in lending altogether?
It's been about a decade now.
Okay.
My background was computers. One happened, I kind of got into construction. I wanted to help rebuild America. Worked in construction, general contractor doing commercial like tenant improvements. And the downturn that you were just talking about in 2008, I basically ended up having to go through a bankruptcy and kind of lost everything. Licked my wounds.
Me too.
Got back into building, made some real money, and wanted to learn what a loan was. I had 3 or 4 homes, didn't understand that process, and really took to it like a duck, and love helping people understand loans and loan structure and how to, again, leverage a bank.
No, that's awesome. Some of the best loan originators aren't the people renting an apartment who've never purchased and or been through life and or, the more life experience you can bring to the table, the more you start to understand what you're talking about. And the average first-time home buyer who's only rented and never been much more than living under their parents' roof doesn't really understand necessarily what we just talked about. But over a lifetime, you're exactly what those experienced people need. To get to that. There's such a learning curve and how many things you can do with loans and how loans are looked at and what's the best loan. So many people come in and try and shove something in a square hole and it's like, God, we didn't even have to do it that way. Why didn't we just do it this way? And we'd be no questions. What's your favorite part with what you do? I think you might have kind of answered on, but be real specific. What do you love the most about what you do?
I love helping people get access to money.
Okay.
The old days, it was always about cash and carry. You don't want debt. But as everything has evolved, technology's evolved, good debt is really, really a good thing. And that's what loans are about. It is that leverage. It is that fulcrum to be able to get what you need. And once you understand the loan structure, it's the same for a car loan, a personal loan, a student loan, right? And a home loan. You were talking about first timers, they've been renting. They're paying to live. That's all buying a house is. You're still going to pay to live, except you're paying yourself. Call it a piggy bank. Call it a way to break through in a certain wealth category. I think most millionaires, most wealthy people, it's really based around real estate. So I love helping people access that. I like helping people, they have that dream of, we're just starting a family, or a business person who is struggling. Oh, everyone tells me no. And it's like, you're totally qualified. It's a different type of loan for you, right? Non-QM, bank statements, P&Ls, cross-collateralization. I mean, there's so many. People need to take away the misconception, understand that, hey, I really want this, and talk to a person like myself and navigate those waters and say, hey, land is right there.
Yeah, I have a lot of people that walk into their local bank, they get turned down, they assume, oh, I just don't qualify. It's like, no, they have an overlay. They won't drop below 680. They never tell them that. And they're just like, no, you don't qualify. Come back later.
And
All
no
right.
bank is created
Yeah,
equal, right?
yeah,
It's
I agree.
just like anything else. You can buy different cars, you can buy different shoes. Not everything is the exact same. So if someone's telling you no, you definitely need to talk to another person. You get mechanics to give you a couple quotes. You get doctors for second opinions. You're buying a home. It's a big thing. Why wouldn't you at least get a second opinion?
I agree with that. Do you work your own team or are you part of a team?
I work my own team. I have support that I can tap on at any time when
Okay.
business is flowing. Right now, I've been doing the personal touch, white gloving the experience, and really helping clients from start to finish throughout that whole
Good.
process.
And that's a lot of places won't let you do that. But one thing about the broker side that I do like is we're very specific. We only want what the program asks for. And that's where that white glove experience comes in, because not if we're not going to use tax returns, why should we have them in the file? We don't need all this extra paperwork. An underwriter can't unsee what they see. And that's where the experience starts to really come to the table, I think, with what you're doing. Um,
And you're nailing it right there. And that's something that most people don't understand.
I
Newer
agree.
loan officers, inexperienced loan officers, they just take everything. It's meat and potatoes. They throw it on the desk and they're like, well, we'll see what the underwriter says. And there's a fine line of, well, we don't need to bog down a file with all of that. Here's just the basics and we can move forward on that type of loan,
I
that type
agree.
of ingredient, and make that type of cake.
Have you always been on the broker side, or have you worked the direct lender side too?
No, I started off direct lending, so I got that retail experience. I went off into brokering for a few years and went back to retail, needing to learn systems. Brokering, you don't have all the gooey, wonderful things a retail shop has, but you've got great pricing. You've got tons of options. And so once I got my systems down and really created the same wonderful experience for every client, no matter what they're doing, I came back to brokering, found Xpert, and man alive, it's a fantastic opportunity. And customers may not realize how great it is. Not every broker's the same, right? There's some brokers that only have 20 banks. We've got 144. We're almost nationwide completely. These things are critical for helping people get the money they deserve to buy what they want.
People don't realize the goal is not necessarily to help everybody that walks through the door, because some people, maybe it's not the best scenario for them. Those that are credit income worthy of qualifying, we usually can find a way with some type of program. I mean, gone are the days where we just take a pulse, obviously, and hand out hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a lot of equity into the stated income loans or DSCR, things like that. I like the changes we've made since 2008 to 2012. Also, I mean, loans are tools if they're used incorrectly, just like a mechanic could screw up your car. A bad loan can really mess you up too. So don't just assume because it's zero down that that's the best deal for you, because you might be paying an ungodly amount in rate in order to get that zero down. Believe me, nothing's free is what I've figured out. Hey, talk to me when you're not doing loans, what does Aaron do? What kind of hobbies you have?
Believe it or not, I'm deceptively athletic.
Me too. Me too.
Perfect. I'm a super avid downhill skier.
Wow.
So in the wintertime, I'm skiing year round because I live out in Arizona. I'm lucky enough, I play sand volleyball every
Wait
week.
a minute. How does Arizona and snow come into the same conversation? Do you guys have
2 hours
snow in Arizona?
away, 2 hours away up on the ridge, Snowbowl is our
Okay.
backyard hill. And then, I travel to one or two major mountains a year, or at least
Okay.
I try.
All right. Wait, but I heard that. Avid skier, what was the other part?
Sand volleyball every week.
Good Lord, I couldn't get off out of the sand if I tried that. We're actually working an Arizona event for April, possibly the end of April, but we didn't get one last year. We had some smaller ones, but a bigger one. Just do that in there. That's going to be a good
Yeah.
one.
So April 2025.
Yeah,
Be
coming
great.
up here. We're trying to put that together. Talk to me as far as nobody knows you. You got people on the fence. Should I buy? Should I not buy? Hey, the economic scenario right now currently scares me. I don't know what's going to happen. If I'm a home buyer, if I'm thinking about buying or I'm thinking about moving up or doing something different, what kind of advice do you got for me right now?
Well, home buying is not a candy bar, right? It's not impulse. So
Right.
it is a little bit of a life decision, but that decision, again, you're paying to rent. Why would you be paying somebody else's mortgage off or paying an apartment complex with noisy neighbors when you could pay yourself? And so right now in 2025, we're still dealing with what everyone feels like is higher rates, but really it's a strong buyer's market. So it means a lot of wonderful things for someone that's trying to buy for the first time. Closing cost is a bucket, but that can be paid by anyone. So sellers are right now saying, hey, come by my house. I'll give you some money to help close. You've got repairs. You've got longer closings. You've got very willing sellers that can really change the whole structure of what you end up paying or how much it takes to close the loan. And
Okay.
this is a great thing. And then when rates come down and everyone comes off the fence and everyone's starting to frenzy buy again, you already have your home. You can refinance it and you'll just get an even sweeter, lower mortgage payment on a property you already love because
Yeah.
you got the pick.
And I think you hit it on the head right there. I mean, I growing up before I got into the business, my parents took out a second mortgage, and I just assumed, wait, you owe 100,000, now you owe another 100,000. They're like, no, it's like 15,000. What are you talking about? I didn't know what I didn't know, and you're refinancing, you're starting over. Like, how does that work? I don't understand. Every single one of us lays our head down somewhere every single night. And we're either doing it at a place that we own or we're doing it at a place that somebody else owns. And what I learned in that crash, I had so many people that had done zero down VA or low down payment FHA or CalHFA zero down. And as soon as they went upside down 10, 15%, I'm just going to go back and rent. And they were letting their houses go with these leveraged foreclosures, they called them, pretty much giving the keys back. And I'm like, but now you're just going right back over here and paying that person's payment every month. We know with real estate, nothing just a straight line up, but over time, real estate, cost of everything, but you have to be in a position to take advantage of it. It's not just the down payment that you put on the property that you're getting that 10, 20, 30, 100% appreciation on. It's on the overall value of the property that you have first rights on as a homeowner. And that's what changes people's lives financially. I mean, gosh, go back. What did the first house you ever bought cost you?
115,000.
What's that house worth today?
$500,000.
Yeah.
Easy.
Where was it?
Scottsdale was I
Okay.
mean, technically that was the first personal residence. I
Okay.
bought a few fix and flips when I was I was actually in the computer business buying fix and flips. And that's what got me into construction. I really liked the whole construction aspect.
Okay.
But, you touched on a good point. Oh, the home value went down a little bit. Still over time, the trend, if you look back at the peak before the quote unquote crash that happened, the values of homes are much higher than they are now. I remember when bread was a nickel.
Don't talk about eggs. We won't go bring up eggs. I got single moms coming on after you.
Well, hey, ultimately things will improve, as you said, the long term. Look at the stock market. So many people buy high and sell low. The people that walked away from those homes because they perceived that there was a lower value went and paid. House prices went up, and it cost them even more to get back into a position where they would have been growing all that equity. Paper millionaire, right? Paper wealth. But you're able to do a refinance, extract some of that, and do wonderful things for the home or the family. And that's what it's about. Again, it's that leverage. Loans are not a bad thing. You just need a good one, and it needs to solve the right problems.
There's not much generational wealth that I've run into on any of my clients, even my investors, that is not centered around a big chunk of real estate. Now, they may be diversified in a lot of things, but real estate is in every single one of their portfolios. Some of them leverage what's called the 1031 exchange, and they turn one property with equity into two, turn two into four, and they just rinse and repeat even at these rates, because it's the price I'm paying and based on the down payment I'm doing, am I break even or cash positive even at this rate right now that you're offering me? If yes, hey, I want another property because I know in the next 10 years I'm going to have value there. Rents are not going down. So even rents are going up. So, hey, I want to continue to be a renter. I'm waiting for the perfect time. Well, how's that worked out for you the last 5, 10 years of being a renter? You probably get yearly increases. And
Well,
I'm actually pretty low on my rental because it's by a base, meaning I usually don't raise the rent because they're in there for anywhere from 2 to 4 years. And I keep the rent the same, but it's a big jump when that next guy comes in because the Air Force will have these 4-year assignments. But I get the big jump, and we just went from, gosh, it was like 1,400 to 1,800 on our newest person. And that's actually wasn't even going the max that we could because we always try and help our service members, but that's a different story.
well, and you touched on a really good thing, right?
Rates ain't going down.
No rate, well, and they're not. And wealth, creating that wealth, it's the same as Monopoly, that game, right? Four houses hotel. So that's what people are trying to do. They buy typically their first, and then instead of selling it and putting all that money into the next one, which is an option, and for some people it's the only option, they can leverage that property, turn it into, oh, I don't want to be a renter. Well, there's management companies. That's how you build your generational wealth. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You want to move? You want to sell it? Hey, after 2 years, most people don't even know that after 2 years as a primary residence, the profits are tax-free. There's numbers there that have qualifying on it, but it's amazing what people assume they know about homeownership when they should be open to talking to someone and really experience what the truth is.
I know that conventional, I'm not going to say FHA or VA because there's some different rules, but it can be done. But a lot of people don't realize, you buy owner-occupied property to get that low down payment, whatever it is, 3% down, conventional, whatever. You only got to live there a year, and then you could qualify for yet another one. Obviously, there's certain rules, how the distance, things like that. Don't always assume. There's people that have figured that out, especially my VA people that are on the bases. They buy a house at every single base, and they just keep doing stuff. And I find that interesting. But they accumulate, and that's the key. I get everybody can, maybe the first step is just become a homeowner, obviously, and get the tax advantages of that. But maybe you're hearing the same thing. I'm hearing this push for no property taxes. Hey, I'd love that if they could actually pull that off, or a reduction. That's getting out of hand. Insurance is kind of interesting. Something's got to give, and I think we're on the verge of something. What that something is, I don't know yet, whether it's a brand new program, state-led insurance, something's got to give.
But that's the ebb and flow of any industry, right?
Sure.
And mortgages is a big industry. Real estate is a big GDP of America.
Yes, it
so
is.
There's a lot of interest in making it right for the common person. Of course, multimillionaires, they have their own things they can think about and worry. But for working people, it's about having a place to come home to that you're proud of. You've been working all day. You want to spend time with your family. You want to barbecue with some friends or neighbors on the weekend. It's hard to do it in an apartment. You're going over to somebody else's house. Well,
yeah,
have your own house. And as loans change and things change, that's what a refinance comes into play. Hey, and that's why it's important to check in once a year, do a little financial health check, right? It's New Year's. I've got New Year's resolutions. One of them should be finances. Let's take a quick overview. Let me talk to my loan officer. Make sure that I'm in the best structure for my home as possible. And you'd be surprised that, there's this new thing or there's this new thing that just came out and I think it'd be a perfect fit. Here's how it pencils. Awesome. Let's do it. No, that's not for me. Move on. This business that we do of providing money for people, it's essential and it's great. People just have to be a little inquisitive and really desire to own a home, and we can make it happen.
Yeah, I challenge people. That's where my last company, Answer Home Loans, came from. I answer a lot of questions, and occasionally I get to do a loan for somebody. But I don't sell anybody anything. I want them to feel comfortable. I'll ask Rich. I know a guy in the industry. I'll ask him, are you that person, that guy or that gal for your connections that they feel they can ask you questions of what you just said? Oh, we're thinking about buying. We're not ready to buy yet, Aaron. We're not ready. But if we've thought about it, we got this going on. About what could we qualify for? And they shouldn't have to be hesitant to ask those questions, because it's much different when they ask you and you know the ins and outs of what they're really going to get off their old house. Do they really need to sell it? What are the rents going if you kept it as a rental property and you had just enough to get into the next house? Now you could have two houses. What does all that look like? And you can't do that online. You can't do that, bankrate.com. It just doesn't, it's not designed for that. But an experienced person who's been there, who's a homeowner, that's been an investor, who's flipped houses, is a whole different conversation than somebody who's just rented their whole life and they're 1 year in the industry. And we all start somewhere. But the wrong loan officer matched with the wrong buyer, don't assume that those are all equal. They're not. Some people are at a different level and they have to have a higher conversation than just, let's get you in the house for the first time and do anything we got to do to get there. And I find the realtors of those first time home buyers, either they have a heart for it or they're going for the lowest fruit on the tree, because the sophistication as you go up in those real estate deals where you might have to do a 1031 or you might need to take something else into account in order to make this one work, you need someone who can navigate that. And that's our specialty. That's what I think you do. I think that's what I do. My investors like it. All right. We're finishing up. I don't want to take your whole day. What is one thing that people need to know about Aaron Kerscher, that when they see this video, if they had to take one thing away out of this and go, you know what, I saw a video and that's the guy that I relate to, what would that be?
Treat everyone like family.
Okay.
And I really do. I present options. It's not about, let's get it done. Let's get it done. It is, here are a few options. I like door number 2. Hey, that's great. My opinions don't matter as much as what's right for that customer. So
sure,
they're going to get that. They're going to get a variety of options, and not, so many it's ridiculous. There's resonation there. I understand key points of what the client's looking to by talking to them. Hey, this is important to you. This type of loan, that type of loan, this type of loan. These are the 3 best that support your goals. And that's that white glove service. That's understanding the dynamics of loans. That's a decade year of experience. That's brokering with an outrageous amount of loan options. And it's as simple as first time down payment assistance buyers and PhD investors who are in a trust that's been split twice and it's revocable and it's a POA, it's a power of attorney, and they're doing a 1031, it's sold by a business and it's closing in a person, and all can be done in less than 30 days.
Wait, that sounds like one of my deals.
Yeah. Well, I just had one, right? And we closed it, 22 days. These things are very critical no matter what stage that person is in, and talking to that client is where I really thrive. I'm not here to sell. I'm here to advise and present great options for them. And that they're going to feel the difference when they talk with me. They're going to see the difference when I present. And they're going to know the difference when they move in their house.
It's interesting you said that. I had a conversation with a brand new loan officer, and they're like, hey, what's a POA and all this stuff? The seller on the house isn't able to sign their own documents. Is that going to be challenged? And I'm like, well, no. It sounds like they have an executor. And I thought, wait a minute, you're making me a little bit nervous. You're asking a lot of questions. This might be a little, maybe we should team you up with a senior loan originator in this particular case. And that's one thing I like about Xpert. We do have people like yourself that if one of our younger people come up against something and we can say, oh, whoa, Aaron just had one of those. I need you to talk with Aaron. You're going to need hand walking, and that's going to give the best experience to your clients, because that's not a normal situation that comes up every single day. Anybody could do the easy ones. And I get easy ones mixed in with my hard ones, but hard has now become easy because I've done the hard so many times that I just have my systems in place, and I have my teams in place and things like that they're dialed for the harder deals. The investor with 100 and he only wants to refinance one of them, it's hey, we got a product for that too. Aaron, go ahead. You're going to say something.
I just want to say it's a little bit of a testament of your leadership. Birds of a feather, they say. Your leadership has attracted a pool of fantastic loan officers. Of course, I'm one of them.
Yep, I agree.
But that's what's great about Xpert, and not only what you give us access to as brokers, but that leadership really does attract some of the best talent across the nation. And you're right, there's different levels in the sense of, hey, I specialize in these categories and those categories. But it's covered. If someone is serious, we've got them covered.
No, you're absolutely correct. All right. We are taking a lot of your time today. I appreciate you giving us your time. I know you got a lot going on, like every loan officer, trying to find that next deal, putting fires out all day because we don't shy away from the hard ones. But Aaron Kerscher, you were on Mortgage Ballers, and I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend it with me and talk loans and let me capture it all for someone else to review. Find some commonalities, whether it's a borrower who wants to get with you. We'll make sure they have all your contact, whether it's a loan officer who wants to talk to you about your experience at Xpert. We'll make sure your contact's in there. And thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, sir. Have a great
All
day.
right, like we say all the time on Mortgage Ballers, stay thirsty, my friends.
Later.